contracting COVID. You take a lift, there's a risk. You go out to buy milk, you can get the 40 brothers. So risk is around us, but we have learned how to manage risk. What surprises me is that we have covered all the other risks without any problem, but we ignore medical. We insure our houses, we insure our laptops, we insure our cars. If you have a restaurant like Domiana, I'm sure you have public liability for people who come to your building. In case they fall in your shop, in your office, you will pay them. We have public liability for those kind of things, but we forget about ourselves. If you look at the insurance statistics this year, the percentage of Kenyans under medical insurance is less than 6%. Less than 6%. And I'm sure it has gone down because most people are laid off. Most companies now have, this year they have said they're not covering medical because they're cutting down costs. It's either they remove the medical or they send you home. So they're opting not to insure. So we are left with various options. One, to self-insure, which is to carry your risk. Number two, to depend on NHIF, which some even NHIF don't take, which is 500 minimum per person per month. Or as some people would say, I'm insured by God. Nothing wrong to be insured by God. I always tell people, but when it comes to the bills, you can't present it to God. Yes, he'll cure you, he'll heal you, but there are bills to be paid. So this is the essence of my discussion today. So that is nugget one and nugget two. What is insurance? And then I've defined risk. And it is always important to transfer this risk to an insurance company. I've been working with insurance companies for all these years, and I can see where they help people. They pay bills every day, they pay claims. Some of them are too huge even to comprehend. Yeah, I've just mentioned Solomon's father has a bill of 200,000 outstanding in hospital. I was talking to Melvis, they did some fundraising, they were able to release the body, I think today or yesterday, but there's still the bill to be paid. So we're having a situation, sadly to say, where we are having, in addition to COVID, there is enhancement of poverty in our homes. So fine, someone moves on, someone gets sick, but you leave a huge bill. And some of these bills, some of this poverty becomes generational because you pass on, the bills will be paid by your wife, they'll be paid by your children or your husband and their children. You move on, we bury you, but still the bills are there to be paid. Who does that? Is the relatives, is the children. So this is a situation which can be mitigated in the form of insurance. Now, I cannot gainsay the importance of insurance because, of course, like I've said, it gives you peace of mind. Just imagine if you're able to be admitted, if you're able to be treated, you tell your people, don't worry, everything is covered. And when you leave the hospital, everything is covered. Nobody for fundraising. In fact, we should be fundraising to raise money maybe for taking care of the children, the fees and stuff, but not for medical bills. But the way it is, it's our Kenyan culture, we have to do this. But we can mitigate it. And the moment we have more people joining and understanding medical insurance, we'll have less of that. Now, people say, how can I be insured? Is it better to be double or multiple insured? It's okay. I always say it is better to be insured than not insured. In addition to that, if you're able to get multiple insurance, it's okay. The only thing you need to remember with medical insurance, it's not a benefit policy like life insurance. If I insure my life for 1 million with Madison, I insure my life for 1 million with Britam, and I insure my life for 1 million with APA, if I die, each company will pay me 1 million, 1 million, 1 million. But for medical insurance, even if I purchase a medical cover of 1 million with Madison, another 1 million with AR, the moment I'm admitted and the bill is 1 million, these two insurance companies each will not pay 1 million. In medical insurance, there's a principle called contribution. So either AR will pay 500,000 and Madison 500,000, or one insurance company will pay the entire bill, and then you are left with the other insurance. So remember, even if you have multiple insurance covers, you can be having a cover for yourself, You can also be insured under your spouse in her company or his company. When it comes to paying claims, all those claims are treated as one, and all these insurance companies will contribute. In fact, it's you to say, use my Madison card once it expires, once it's exhausted, sorry, the balance bill on this other scheme, the balance bill on this other scheme. So having that in mind, it's not wise to purchase 2 medical covers for yourself for the same limit. Because, of course, it is not a benefit policy, but it's good to have the double insurance. Just in case this one gets exhausted, you can have a rollover for the next one. When it comes to you and your spouses and children, of course, the higher the insurance, the better. Now, NHIF is a mandatory insurance mandated by the government. It's always important to have NHIF because even when you're insured privately, the first part of insurance to be deducted from your benefits will be the NHIF. So there's the bed rebate. Sometimes they cover some aspects of your treatment. Sometimes they don't, but there's a portion of NHIF which is usually paid, and then the difference your private insurance covers. If you're not a member of NHIF, the NHIF rebate will be fully deducted from your benefit. That's important to know. So it's always good to have NHIF and good to have your private insurance, but I always advise people, whenever you go to hospital, especially for admission, I'll come back to that, which is a bigger risk, in or outpatient, especially for admission, always use your NHIF first. Once they tell you we can do this, we can do this, we can't do this, let them exhaust their capabilities and then now present your medical card. Because you can have a situation where you have your private insurance card, you exhaust the benefits. When it comes to NHIF, they only tell you they can cover percentage. So always start with NHIF, find out what they can, what they cannot, and then now flip back to your secondary insurance. Now, when it comes to insurance, medical insurance has 2 components. We have the outpatient, we have the inpatient. The outpatient, of course, is good because you use it every day. You can see it working. But if you ask me as a consultant, which is the biggest risk? Remember, we talked about risk. The biggest risk in medical insurance is inpatient. It is inpatient, not outpatient. If you're in a position to buy medical insurance and you cannot afford both in and out, don't buy out, buy in first. Because outpatient is where you go see a doctor and go back home. Remember, if you see the same doctor and he says you can't go back home for any reason, you have to be admitted. Now, admission, that's where problems start. Right from the admission, they'll need admission deposit. Right now, no hospital is taking COVID patients without an admission deposit of at least 100,000. They need to know who's paying the bill. If you don't have a medical insurance, they need 100,000. Some hospitals like Nairobi, Aga Khan is 300,000. Admission deposit. You have not even been checked into the ward. If you don't have, they tell you, go to Mama Lucy, go to Kenyatta, go to KU, the government facilities. And you don't want that because, again, you're not sure you'll get space there. The quality of treatment sometimes is questionable, especially down in the mashinani. So if you have an option, start with insurance for inpatient. Then if you have extra money, you can bill the outpatient. By the way, outpatient, even if you tell the doctor, treat me today, treat my kid, I'll pay you tomorrow, he'll agree. No doctor will turn you away. They'll agree. Most of the time you go to a doctor, But for inpatient, you cannot say you're going home and coming back to raise money. They'll tell you cannot go. Maybe it's an emergency. So it's always important to have the inpatient cover on that. Now, most people, and this is another nugget, when you're purchasing your medical insurance, most of us are swayed by the features. Any marketing product will have the features, it will have the benefits. I always tell people, focus on the benefits, leave alone the features. The features will tell you you're insured for 10 million. We have, for example, I'm going to speak broadly. I hope I'm not touching on anybody's toes, but we have, for example, AR. AR will tell you, for example, you're insured for 10 million. So in your mind, you have 10 million, but when you look at when you break it down under the benefits, you have looked at the feature, it has a 10 million limit, but the benefit is 5 million for illness, 5 million for accidents. If you're purchasing a 1 million cover, it is 1 million for half a million for illness, half a million for accident. So supposing you have this condition that needs treatment beyond half a million, they will pay the half a million, then you'll be left to pay the excess. So that's a feature versus benefit issue. So always read the fine print, and that's where most of us don't read. And that's why I get my consultancy from, because I'm hired to read these policies for people, organizations, look at the fine print, look at the hidden clauses, and let them understand. So always read the fine print and always go for the benefits. For example, you'd rather go to a scheme which will give you 1 million without any of those things of this for this and this for that, for example. The costing might be the same or slightly more expensive, but you end up getting more benefit for that. So the fine print is very important. Another example, which I came across and which I managed about 5 years ago, was the benefits and the exclusions. Sometimes, especially for the ladies, you have a maternity which says you're covered for the first emergency cesarean section. So the devil is in the details. One scheme will tell you first emergency cesarean section. Another one will tell you first cesarean section. So if you go and yours is a normal cesarean, because your benefit says first emergency cesarean, you have paid for maternity, but you'll not be covered for that. So again, it's the detail, the devil is in the details. You have to look at that. We had a situation whereby the policy said first emergency cesarean section, and this lady gave birth to triplets, and all of them were emergencies. The entire menu were emergencies. She gave birth to, it was an emergency, she gave birth to triplets. And the insurance company said they only cover for they meant only one kid. And she was left with 2 kids in incubators. The bill was 100,000 per day. By the time she was leaving that hospital after, I think, 2 months, her bill was 2.6 million. She was insured for only half a million. Now, those are the kind of things. We later on went back and changed it into a company policy, and the insurance company was able to do that. Now, again, it's important. When you have a medical policy which has exclusions, look at the exclusions, then discuss with the insurer, which exclusions can you buy back? Most of these exclusions are standard, but you have proactive companies which can allow you to buy back those exclusions. For example, they'll tell you pre-existing conditions are exclusions, things like hypertension, chronic conditions, high blood pressure are exclusions, but they give you the option of buying it back. Some of them even have it inbuilt in the policy, but again, you have to look at the benefit. They are covering you for that condition, but up to what limits? So it's important. Remember, even if you have a 1 million inpatient limit, those exclusions have sub-limits. So for example, if you're admitted because of high blood pressure or COVID, right now people are being admitted because of COVID. Does insurance have a COVID cover? If it doesn't, you can actually go back and tell them to endorse a COVID cover. This is very easy for corporates. For individuals, it might be a bit tricky, but for corporates, we are doing it right now. I'm doing it for a lot of organizations whereby they didn't have COVID, but COVID was not there when this policy was being taken. So you can go back and design a COVID cover and endorse it to your existing medical scheme so that when that risk happens, at least it cushions you to some extent. Most of us, again, buy medical cover blindly, especially for the individuals. This specifically for the individuals. Most corporate schemes, the waiting cover is waived or can be negotiated from 30 days to 15 days or even waived, even if you're not moving from another scheme. But for individuals, we have to be careful when you're buying medical insurance because no individual medical cover comes without a waiting period. So you might buy because you're excited to buy and you don't read the policy, you don't read the contract. Shock on you. there's a waiting period of 30 days, even for a cold, even for malaria, 30 days waiting period. For admission, unless it's an emergency, 60 days, 90 days, some 90 days. For surgeries, 90 days. If you're taking cover because your parent or yourself or something has cancer, for example, insurance pays for cancer, but you have to notify them. What most people don't know, cancer in most insurance companies for individuals has a waiting period of 2 years. 2 years, not 2 months, 2 years. Minimum is 1 year. Maternity, 1 year, 10 months to 12 months, maternity. So even if you buy thinking you're buying and you'll deliver the same year, you won't. And for you to be eligible for the same benefit next year, you have to renew so that you serve your waiting period and renew again for cancer. That's what I'm saying. The right time to take insurance is now, because you just never know about tomorrow. So let's be very keen on that. The waiting period, I know, has wasted a lot of people thinking, oh, the doctor diagnosed me with this growth, it needs to be operated. How much daktari tells you 1 million, you go buy an insurance for 2 million. When you take your claim, they tell you there's a waiting period for this cancer. It's cancerous, there's a waiting period for this. So, and then you get frustrated. Then you don't take insurance again, and then another thing hits you. So let's be cautious on that. I think I've talked about inpatient versus outpatient. Always ensure the in as a minimum, then you can endorse the out. And then of course, after the out, the other, we call them optional benefits like optical, dental, maternity. Those are optional covers, which you might choose to have or not. It's not that important, but it's just an optional. You may not want to cover that. Now, let me talk about another feature that is important. When it comes to buying insurance, it's always cheaper, relatively speaking, to get a higher cover. It's better if you can afford it, buy a higher limit. I'm going to give you examples, which are current rates, which I got from an insurance company yesterday. Now, I'll give 2 examples. If you're going to insure yourself, if you're between 18 and 60 years and you purchase an insurance inpatient limit of $500,000, on their budget option, it is 13,000 per year. 13,000 per year for $500,000. Meaning, if you pay 13,000 in premium, if you're admitted, the insurance company will pay your bills up to $500,000, whether illness or accident related. Now, if you buy 1 million, cover limit of 1 million, believe it or not, it's only 15,000. So here we have a situation again, benefits versus features. For an additional 2,000, you get double the benefit, from $500,000 to 1 million at only 2,000 extra, from 13,000 to 15,000. So you have to look at all the scope and look at what you're getting for each. Sometimes you can think you're saving, but in that saving, you're not. You're actually going to spend more. Because right now, as you're talking, the average admission for COVID, if someone goes to COVID, for admission with COVID for about 2 weeks, it cannot be less than $500,000. And that is a low-cost facility. If you talk about the Nairobi hospitals, the Aga Khans, the Matters, 2 weeks is 1 million. 1 month can easily translate it to 2 million worth of hospital bills. So if you're able to buy that, please do so. Right now, we're having a phenomenon where we're having our elderly people, and most insurance companies stop their insurances from 60, 65. And that's why it's always important to start with insurance. Even if you're not going to use it, keep on renewing, because you never know. It's like an investment. It's like an investment. You save for a rainy day. You don't know about the rainy day, but one day it might come. So medical insurance is the same thing. Even if you don't get sick this year, even if you don't get admitted, pay for it, renew it, because you just don't know about, nobody knew about COVID, and it's what's making all of us poor. So pay for it, renew it religiously, just like your motor car. Whether you have an accident or not, you have to insure your car. That's how medical should be treated. Now, for the elderly, it's even more serious because once they reach 65, no insurance company wants to touch them. You cannot even, however the money, how much money you have, they don't want to. Right now, we only have 2 or 3 companies which are providing seniors insurance, which can go up to 80, but the last joining age is 75. So for those of us, again, with elderly parents without insurance, take advantage of this. See me, I can direct you to that company, hook you up with the people, they will sort out your parents, because these are the things that are gonna make us, poorer. Bills, bills, bills. That is another nugget. Now, when it comes to the medical card, just a small thing about it, it's always important to carry your medical card. Always have it separate from your wallet. For men, I always tell them, separate from your wallet. For ladies, you have a lot of handbags, purses, and all that. I don't know what goes where, but put it somewhere separate, because so that even if your wallet gets lost or stolen in an accident, someone can reach there. Because what happens is people are taken to hospital, you're fully insured, you're able to pay for your medical expenses at the best hospitals, but because there's no identification on who is going to pay the bill, the first responders, if there's an accident, they'll take you to Kenyatta. Or even if they take you to a private facility, they will stabilize you, then transfer you to a government facility. That is how Ken Walibora died. If all of us remember the sad story of Ken Walibora, they couldn't identify him. And he stayed in Kenyatta unattended and he died. Had the first responders found his card from his medical card, he'd have been taken to a better facility, probably he'd still be alive. For those of us with children in boarding schools, I always insist, don't keep your cards here with you. Give them, give to the matrons, give to the boarding masters, let them have their medical cards. We have emergencies which happen in school. Again, if they go to a facility without the card, complications arise and quality healthcare is compromised. That's something about the medical cards. Right now, we even have the smart cards, which are linked to your phone. So you're able to get real-time updates about your utilization and your usage and all that. So finally, let me say something small for those of us who are who drive and have comprehensive insurance for your cars. One thing you need to realize, as much as you've insured your car comprehensively, and it pays even for the accidents and the repairs for any other person apart from you, remember you're not insured yourself. You as a driver of your vehicle, which is comprehensively insured, you have no insurance at all. So it is important for you to get a personal medical insurance, or worst case scenario, get a personal accident insurance, which has a medical insurance component in it. Of course, personal accident covers you for death, permanent total disability, temporary and total disability, but there's always a medical component. But this medical component is only as a result of the accident. So if you don't have a medical insurance and you're driving your own car, just know you'll pay your bills. The insurance will replace your car immediately, but you'll pay your hospital bills. In fact, in most cases, once you get the check for the car, you'll take it to the hospital to pay your hospital bills. So it's important for especially people who run their own businesses, you don't have the benefit of a company medical insurance, always have medical insurance, or worst case scenario, buy a PA, personal accident insurance, which covers you in the event of anything. So let me finish by saying this, and then I'll invite questions. If you're admitted or you have a patient in hospital, we have what we call the patient rights. Patient rights. Last on Sunday, when we were having the discon, I got a call from Mata, and this wife was very frantic because the husband had been admitted, was discharged. The doctor had been coming to discharge him since Wednesday, and the doctor is not seen. And I asked her, was it a hospital doctor or a consultant doctor? And she said it's a consultant. And the hospital said, they are not able to reach the daktari and they cannot discharge without the daktari. And when he comes, he only comes past curfew hours. He comes at 9. And so the guy is getting frustrated, nothing is being done. And I was quickly able to intervene. We wrote a letter to the hospital and to the credit controller, and we asked them to use the hospital doctor to discharge. And the following day he was discharged. And of course, the doctor, of course, showed up. So these are some of the things which happen, especially in inpatient management, whereby you have the patient's right being violated. That one is being detained against his wishes. And what most patients don't know, or people don't know, you have actually the right to discharge yourself. You can discharge yourself if you feel you're not getting the right care of treatment. You just have a family member come and sign. If you're able to sign, you can sign for yourself and you discharge yourself. So some of the patient rights, I'm just going to quickly read them, is you have the right to receive superior health care, regardless of race, tribe, nationality, sex, age, financial status, religious beliefs, and cultural preferences. Of course, you have the right to be treated with respect and courtesy. Yeah, we have doctors. I don't know. I think it's very notorious in maternity cases. I hear a lot of cases where they are mistreated by the people attending them, especially at Pumwani. It used to be very rampant at Pumwani. So you have a right to be treated with respect and courtesy. Remember, you are the one paying the bills, so they are there to serve you. You have the right to have your personal privacy respected and medical records handled confidentially. That is very important. They're not supposed to share. Even your insurance company is not supposed to share medical records, even if it's your spouse who calls. I remember a case where the director of Home Park Caterers, 10 years ago, I was managing that company. He paid 2 million. They were awarded 2 million. The staff was awarded because her HIV status was shared between the doctor and the HR. The HR called to ask, why is this staff sick all the time? Why is she sick and absent all the time? The doctor said she's positive. And this HR used that information to fire this lady. She went to court. If some of us, if you can remember that case, it was at Metropolitan Hospital. And that Dr. Cheng and the director of Home Park, they were forced to pay the lady 2.6 million. So that confidentiality is very important. You have the right to know the name and qualifications of the doctor treating you. That's another key thing. You're going for surgery, your doctor is going, your kid is going for surgery, your spouse, your mom, wherever. You have the right to ask that doctor, how many surgeries have you done of this nature? Can I get a reference? Can I talk to one of them? What are your qualifications? So that you are sure and you have the peace of mind that whoever is operating on you has the right qualifications and the right temperament. This case I was talking to you about matter, the same doctor referred him to his clinic for post-discharge. The guy said he's not going there because of that. So, of course, you have the right to receive information about your diagnosis, treatment, and plans in a language easily understood. Once again, we get prescriptions from doctors we don't understand. We just come with the prescriptions straight to the pharmacy. We always call them doctors, like a doctor, anaandika kama daktari. We don't read them, we don't understand. While you're there with the doctor, when he's writing those prescriptions, you have the right to ask him, daktari, what is this? What does it mean? Write clearly. Okay, this medicine, what does it do? Why are you giving me 2 painkillers? Why are you giving me ABC? So many antibiotics. So you have the right to discuss your treatment and receive full information and knowledge from your doctor. And you have the right also to participate in decisions involving your healthcare and to give informed consent to treatment. Finally, you also have a right for seeking a second opinion. If you're not happy with the doctor who is treating you, if you're not happy with the treatment, it is your right to ask for a second opinion, whereby you'll be referred to a second doctor or a specialist or another facility if you don't want the facility you're in. So I believe with those few nuggets, Mr. President, I hope I've enlightened a few members or all the members on some of the benefits on medical insurance and helped to demystify this, because I know most people fear medical because it sounds, it's also a bit emotive. but it's not complicated. It just needs us to understand it and to face it by the horn. Now that we have faced it.
Yes, thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much. I think the right word is what you have used, demystify. For many people, health insurance is a very gray area. They don't know much about it. Personally, I've learned quite a bit. And especially why you have shocked me is the part of the comprehensive. I've just learned that I'm not comprehensive enough to be covered by the comprehensive insurance. So that's an exciting one. So members, any questions that you'd like to ask Jeff? You've had he's a consultant, so if you go and see him privately, probably he'll charge you. But now you have a chance to ask him some free questions.
Yeah, I can see some question there.
I can see there's a Jeff, there are some hands that have gone up. Maybe you can just take them one at a time.
I see the questions. Yeah.
There are a few people who have raised there. I can see Esther K has her hand up.
Good evening. I don't know whether you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
We can.
I am Esther. I am a guest. I was invited by Esther Gachagua. She's my friend. I thank you very much for this session. I just like Robert, I didn't know. I'm actually employed with a medical cover, but I did not thought about because I have a car with comprehensive. I'm not insured. That's a good that I've learned. No, my question, you've talked about inpatient. Like you should, when you're taking maybe a personal cover, you first of all you consider an inpatient before outpatient. Is there a medical cover that just have an inpatient component only? Then another short question. I actually have parents over 65 years, and it's just that I was thinking maybe their NHIF is not enough. I'm combining that with what I've seen in our workplace about critical illness. So I don't know whether it's also part, like I get a medical scheme and they include critical illness. I don't know how it actually works. And it's good you've mentioned at least there are 2 insurance companies where they can cover over 65 years. And those over 65 years, let's say a cover of like 2 million, how do you have an estimate of how much it would be premiums per year?
Okay. Thank you for that question. Let me see something here. Okay. Let me start with the last question. Thank you, Esther, for your question. There is an insurance cover. There is an insurance company. This is let me see if my records. Okay, I'll be able to get you the name, but I only have the ratings here because I was using the rating tables. It must be either APA or APA Old Mutual, but the rate is this way. They have a 1 million age group 66 to 75. Okay, you said your parents are 65. 55 to 65 years, there's a 1 million inpatient cover that goes for 31,000. If you are 66 to 75 years, a 1 million cover limit, the inpatient will go for 42,000. Remember, even if you surpass 75, it covers you up to 80, as long as you keep on renewing every year after 75 and you're subjected to a medical checkup. So we usually look at the last joining age. Here, the last joining age is 75. So they are within that age bracket and they can even extend it up to 80. Now, after 80, after 70, after 60, what normally happens is it now becomes your relationship with the insurance company. That's why I always say stick to one insurer, because going forward, you can be able to claim back what we call ex gratia. Ex gratia is simply a management decision to make a decision which is not covered by insurance. For example, you'll be 70 or 75 or 80, but for the last 10 years, you've not used the scheme, or you've been a faithful payer, renewing your premiums. They will make a management decision to say, you know what, let her continue on to be on cover. Or at that point, you know, the medical services manager, you know, the MD, they just make a decision, management decision to pay that. Now, to the other question about the critical illness. The critical illness usually is a sub-limit of the inpatient benefit of most medical covers. So you find that maybe, I don't know what your limit is to your company, but if the limit is, for example, 1 million, you'll find that the critical illness component is something like 300,000 or 250,000. Rarely does it go beyond 500,000. So if you feel your parent, that's where the risk is, then it's important to take a secondary insurance cover just in case this critical illness limit is exhausted, or, you know, it's exhausted and they're not go beyond. For major organizations, for companies, I usually advise them, because of these sublimits, everybody's entitled to a sublimit of 300, 300, 300 or 500,000. I always advise them, and I always design for them what we call an excess of loss cover. For example, everybody can have the 300,000 limit for the critical illness, but as a company, you purchase maybe a critical excess of loss cover for 5 million, so that anybody who exhausts their primary limit and their secondary sublimit can, you know, dip into this excess of loss cover for any excess. And the premiums are very minimal. The premiums are very minimal. You might find it's just about 5,000 per person per year. So that one works for large groups. But for your case, it is important to look at what is the risk, back to the risk, what is the risk. If that critical illness might not be able to safeguard that, take a secondary cover that will do that.
What is secondary cover? Secondary cover, please tell me what secondary cover is.
A second insurance cover, a second insurance cover.
With another company?
Yes, with another company.
Okay.
And the good thing, all these insurance companies, they use the same panel of hospitals and doctors. So it's just a matter of you know, PR, but they use the same hospitals. So that's it. Then you asked another question about the inpatient. Yes, inpatient is riskier than outpatient. Outpatient is used every day, but where the big risk is, the maximum you can spend on outpatient cannot be more than 50,000. If you spend more than 50,000, I don't know what you're being given, but unless there are those x-rays and tests like, but inpatient is the biggest risk. So if you have a choice of purchasing in or out, purchase both. But if you're limited by finance, go for inpatient first. And most of these companies which offer individual inpatient cover, individual medical insurance, they have both, and with an option for you to just buy inpatient only. What you can't buy is you cannot buy outpatient only.
Okay, thank you, Jeff, for that answer. I can see Mukami has her hand, Rotarian Mukami, and our PP Angie. So maybe you can tackle their questions.
Thank you. I think for me it's more of a comment than a question. Is to just say that I really like the talk. It's very timely, especially at this time when we have massive bills. Just to chip in, I am actually a benefactor of the thing called ex gratia, because when I delivered my babies, who are triplets, I delivered them early. So actually, when I was in hospital, that's when we realized that most, like 90% of insurance covers do not cover babies born before 38 weeks. And so, but fortunately, my cover at that particular time did cover babies born before 38 weeks. and mine was so early at 28 weeks. And I ended up spending 3 months in hospital, left with that 11.2 million bill. And my limit was 10 million. So what you had to do, of course, you had to go back to the insurance and say, the limit, the breakdown was 1, 2, 3, 4, but now is it possible to just pull everything, the 10 million, whether it's dental, because dental is usually around 200 or something, glasses, optical, anything, like even everything, like we just pulled it together and say, let's do the 10 million together. And then now after, because we had suffered loss of the kids and everything, we were just like, okay, let's just give them the extra for the 1.2 million, which was extra. The other thing when I learned when I was in hospital about medical cover is the moment you have medical cover, the doctors and the hospital takes advantage. So be very, very careful anytime you're admitted, whether you're paying for yourself or someone is paying for your insurance. Please go through the bill every day. Like I did that for 3 months, and actually my final bill was about 15 million, and I had to like go and ask, this medicine, when did this one take, this one, and I actually pulled it down up to 11.2. So they had given me an extra 4M on top of it, and if I didn't check, I actually went and took my doctor's book. I took the nurse's book. Sometimes when you're admitted for a long time, they'll take a lot of medicines, then you'll be off the medicine. Maybe they expected you take them for 2 weeks, then you take them for 1 week, then they return to pharmacy, but they don't indicate they've returned to pharmacy. So during that time, I learned that your medical bill, I used to go and ask for them. It's the hospital, they have a lot of printing paper. Print for me my bill for today. Before I go home, I'll check, like, okay, I'll go to the nurse. Has he taken this, and this? And of course, the doctor also has his bill, but personally, I had no issues with the doctor because you cannot, like, it's a personal doctor. You really don't want to need to get into what he's doing because his is more of consultancy. But yeah, so like what Jeff is saying, like those small things are the things that you need to look. And of course, when we finished now the insurance, it couldn't be renewed till later in the year. So when we wanted now, because our baby had to go through therapy, he had to go through weekly visits to the hospital. Like every week we had to go every week. It just meant that any insurance, like literally we asked, can we take an insurance now that we've left the hospital, we don't have insurance and the bills are piling up? They were like, no, even if you take now, it will only be used maybe in 6 months. The shortest time they give is 6 months. So we were like, our insurance will be renewed by then, so there's no need. So after that, that's why I think the secondary medical cover comes in, is that we had to fork out occupational therapy fees, which was a lot. I think it was like 3,500 per day for 3 days a week. We needed to do consultation every week, which was like 6K for the doctor. We needed to buy the vitamins. So in overall, we'd spend like almost 100K every month on just taking care of this one baby. And we didn't have insurance. It was actually very consuming, actually not consuming, like it was a very big financial burden. And then I tend to think people like me who've gotten preemies and they don't have this kind of resource, because I will not lie and say that it really strained me that we didn't have food, but there are other people who don't have this kind of resource, who actually cannot even afford the 3,500 for therapy or anything. So when it comes to medical insurance, I'm always like, please take, you never know, and it comes in a very, very interesting way that you can never really prepare. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Rotarian and Mukami, for that personal testimony. Moving on, our past president, Angie, you had a question?
Yes, I did. I actually just wondered, so what you actually do if I wanted to engage your services is like, you know, because annually we do a group insurance policy for my family. And so, you know, and let me not lie, I look at that thing and I don't know what I'm reading. And they give it to me because I'm the former banker, I'm the closest to insurance. I'm like, really? I have no idea what I'm looking at. So is that what, so if I wanted to engage you, I could actually do that, right?
Jeff?
Yes, PP Angie. Thanks for your question. What normally happens is groups come together. You have like the chairman, the family groups, and they purchase. But in most cases, like you're saying, most just have a medical card. They know if you're sick, you go here. Until something really happens, then you know these are the devil's in the details. So for your case, I'm able to look at it holistically. First of all, look at the group composition, look at the risk areas, look at the age demographics, look at the population distribution. And we approach it from two ways. Either I look at the budget and work with your budget and design for you something that can maximize on your budget. The second way is to get the exact, you know, from the risk, I can be able to tell you this age group, for example, does not need more than 1 million. This age group is a higher risk. They don't need more than 50,000 outpatient. For example, the 18 to 30-year-olds, if you take 50,000 outpatient for them, you're wasting your money. They don't have time to get sick, number one. And then even if they get sick, they recover very fast. Now, the elderly and the very young, from 0 to 16, they always go to hospital. Maybe they get this and that. So you have to weigh those kind of things. So we look at it holistically, then I design a scheme or I'd advise on which are the areas to add, which are the areas to remove. And then you find that you get better value for money. That is one. Just to add on what Rotarian Mukami said, whenever you're in hospital, if you have a patient, please, like she's saying, ask for your interim bill every day. Go through it the way you go through your shopping bill or your bank statement.
Or the restaurant bill.
That's when things happen. I'm not saying all doctors are bad, but I'm saying we have unscrupulous doctors who will charge, who will indicate they visited you, they checked on you 3 times a day, and each time he's billing 5,000. Yet you only remember seeing him once. You know?
A week.
On the final bill. Number two, when you're being before you get discharged or your person gets discharged, there are some areas in the bill you can negotiate. Most patients don't know that. You're so distressed, you just know insurance is paying, but the consultant's fees are negotiable. You negotiate with the consultant separately before he gives his final bill to the hospital. The doctor's fees, the specialist's fees, those ones you can negotiate with Daktari and tell him, Daktari, this is the bed charges, yours is 100,000, please give me 50, or make for me 50 or something. Most Daktaris usually discount. So don't just accept a bill the way it is. Look at where you can ask for discounts, especially where you can negotiate with the hospital, with the doctors directly. They usually discount it. Then insist for your NHIF. Insist for your NHIF so that everything is put in before the final bill. Once the final bill is done by the hospital, it's very hard for you to go and negotiate with the doctors. But you can negotiate with them at the interim bill basis. So be very careful with that. Another thing Mukami reminded me, if you're admitted and your limit is, for example, inpatient limit is 1 million, and they call the insurance company, most of the time the insurance company will not indicate that you're insured for 1 million. So when that happens, don't panic and don't go into distress, or don't call the insurance company. Normally there's a cover limit, which is 1 million. Then there's approved limit, which the insurance will write maybe 200,000. So whenever you see that, don't panic. What normally happens is a management tool, because if they write 1 million there, like I said, we have unscrupulous doctors and facilities which will make sure by the time you are discharged, you have spent that 1 million. So they're not supposed to know. Even if you know your limit, don't tell the hospital, I'm admitted for I'm covered for 2 million, so do everything. They will do, and they will do. Some unscrupulous ones will get away of retaining you there for an extra week. Funny tests, unnecessary tests, they will eat half your money. So normally when that 200,000, they write on that, it's called the approval authorization request, 200 or 300. Once it is exhausted, then the hospital requests for the limit to be increased. So it is increased to 500,000. When you exhaust that, it's increased. So that is another tool insurance companies use to manage your benefit. But like I always say, you should be your first manager of your benefit. Always question, always query, always ask for ex-gratia. Ex-gratia, by the way, it's a benefit which most patients or most clients don't know, but it is also your right. You have a right to ask for that ex-gratia, especially if you have not been a high claimant client.
Jeff,
Yes,
I
Mr.
have something to add. Sorry, I have something to add. Another thing I learned about being in hospital for so long. So when I got admitted, it was an emergency CS. So we kind of figured it was 3 babies. It was going to be a lot of money. So we decided from, okay, my insurance, based on my insurance, you know how you go to hospital and the insurance tell you can go to Princess Zara, you can go to South Wing. So I was supposed to go to South Wing where it's, you know, that where it's like 25K or something per night. But then we just decided, because we thought that the insurance would be a lot, we didn't expect it to go that far. So we're like, let's just go to the normal bed. And anyway, it was, because most of my relatives are doctors, they're just like, just go to the normal ward, which is very near to the NICU. So you don't have to keep, the NICU is the newborn ICU. You don't have to keep on going. But then what we came to realize is that other women who are in the NICU, whose baby were in the NICU, are in the South Wing. And it was actually at 10,000 extra for your baby if they're in the South Wing. So for us who are in the normal ward, we were paying 45K per baby per day. That's just the bed. But now if you're in South Wing, you're paying 55K. Just because you're in South Wing. I don't know what kind of privileges, but remember you have to walk all the way to bring your milk. You have to come all the way to see your baby. But just because you're in South Wing and your insurance, I don't know what reasoning they use, you pay extra.
Well, so moving on, we are running out of time, but I think I'll take 2 more questions, one from our IPP and another one from Wilson before we close. So IPP.
Oops, I think mine is an old hand, but I would like to ask about specs. I always see every other time specs and dental are always excluded and they are never paid in full. Why?
Okay, thank you, IPP, for your question. It depends. In most individual insurance covers, optical and dental fall under optional covers. And if it is there, whether it is individual or a corporate, you find that it is how do you call it? Okay, treated as an optional cover, then it has sublimits in it. For example, you said optical. For optical, you might think if they tell you you're insured for 20,000, most of it, the maximum is 20,000, 30,000. It covers you for the cost of the treatment, cost of the eyeglasses, the lenses, and the frames. But you'll find that the lenses are limited maybe to a certain amount or not limited, but the frames might be limited maybe to a maximum 10,000. And you'll find that the frame can only be exchanged after 2 years. Remember, your contract is yearly, but here they're telling you the frames can only be changed every 2 years, meaning you have to renew for you to claim that benefit. Some will tell you the maximum they'll pay for the frames is 10,000, which is a good thing because they also want you not to just spend everything on the frames and leave the lenses, which is the most important part, exposed. Sometimes they put those kind of limits. But it is designed in such a way that you have to be there long term for you to benefit from it. I hope I've answered you, PP.
Okay, thank you, Preza. Let me just ask my question really fast. So for me, I've really been shocked because of the AR situation. I'm covered under it, and I'm one of those people who had I thought my 3 million cover would cover everything. So my question is there a way for an individual to negotiate with an insurance company, and then maybe you can give a recommendation of which insurance firm you know provides a better cover for individuals?
Okay, thank you, Director Wilson. Now, the market is open. All these providers operate in an open market. They are at liberty to develop their products, put the features in whichever way. Remember, I talked about features versus benefits. All these insurance companies, you find that the features are more or less the same, but now the benefits within the features is what matters. So you have to really shop around. It's like a supermarket where you'll find this is Samsung, this is, you know, another brand, this is Techno, but the phone has the same features. But if you really look deep inside, you find that this one has some hidden features. For AR, it has been like that. They have their reason why they give that demarcation. Most insurance companies, to get an edge over AR, and I remember being in a lot of product development committees, and we used AR as a basis, they decided to remove that distinction where you have your 3 million, for example, your case, you'll find you're insured for 1.5 for accident and 1.5 for illness. So should you have a long-term injury and it surpasses 1.5, you cannot even dip into the 1.5 for the illness. So most insurance companies decided, you know what, we are going to remove this demarcation and open our limit. So a lot of people, of course, move to that side. Number two, AR, for example, limits their outpatient to their clinics. True, you have to go to their clinics. Now, for that reason, they market their outpatient as unlimited, no limit. Visit as many times so long as you come to our facilities. But of course, they have control on the processes, they have control on the types. And there was a time where AR had a problem where everyone was saying all they're getting is generics. Of course, you cannot give unlimited brand indication. They have to limit it to generics for you to have unlimited. That is a feature, unlimited. What about where you get 30,000 and you can go and get brand medication? And you know for a fact you cannot exhaust 50,000 in a year. So it's a matter of choice. So for me, I'll give you, if you call me, I'll give you a holistic approach. I'll give you this ABC companies. These are the benefits, these are the features, these are the premiums. You make a decision. Yeah, so that is how. Just one thing, Mr. President, something important came up when Mukami was speaking. When you have a benefit of ward bed, all these hospitals, all these insurance companies base their bed allocation based on the most expensive hospitals. We call them the top 5, the Mater, the Aga Khan, the Nairobi, the Karen, and Gertrude's. The bed limits are based on those hospitals. Now, 2 scenarios. If your card is reading ward bed and you go to Nairobi Hospital, you'll be admitted in the ward. Sawa, because we based it on the ward limit of Nairobi Hospital, which right now is 13,500. Okay. If you go with the same card written ward bed, the same card from the same company, and you go to Avenue Hospital with that ward bed card, because it is based on the 13,500 limit, in Avenue Hospital or St. Mary's Hospital or any other 3rd tier hospital,
Or Nairobi West.
Nairobi West, exactly, Nairobi Women's. The same card will allow you private room because your private room is 7,000. Now, this is how you say you have to be the first manager. If you just want to go for the prestige, you'll go to Aga Khan, Nairobi, Karen, and lose out on something. But if you just want to manage your health, you can use the same ward bed, go to Tumutumu, go to Kijabe Mission, go to Bishop Kyoko in Machakos, and comfortably stay in a ward bed, sorry, in a private room, private, not even semi-private, for half the amount you'll pay in a ward bed in Aga Khan. So those are some of the things that we needed to demystify. Back to you, Mr. President. I think we have lost Mr. President.
We've lost him, or where has he gone? In the interest of time, can we move to IPP Angie to give the vote of thanks?
Thank you for volunteering me.
I don't know what has happened to Mr. President.
Yeah, look, he dropped off. It seems his internet is probably unstable. Well, thank you, Jeff. Let me tell you, as I told you in my family, because I'm one of the bankers, there are two bankers in the family. So because everyone figures we're the closest to the insurance industry, we're the ones given these things to look at, and we tell them we don't know what we're looking at. Today, you have demystified so much stuff that I've never understood all these years, having various insurance covers, and I've literally never known what a lot of that stuff meant. Personally, I know I'm going to, when we get to around the time when we renew our family insurance, for sure I will be coming to see you. Esther, please mute yourself. There's a lot of noise coming from yourself, from you, and I can't mute you. Yeah, thank you. I know for sure I will be personally coming to you to ask for you to help us. And when we're looking at this, because we have, the age range is 76 down to, I think, 1 year. 1 year. So because it's a huge, it's my a huge section of my extended family. And I'm sure, like, and everyone else has also, is very thankful for having been here today, and what we have managed to learn. I will definitely be checking my hospital and doctor bills, just the way I check the restaurant bill, or to be more accurate, the bar bill. I'll now be more chondro when I'm looking at that thing, because it never occurred to me that somebody would lie to you when you're sick. But I guess they can. I guess they will. So thank you, Jeff. And I'm sure you have now gained many customers here, just from our small group. Thank you very much, Jeff.
Okay, Karibu. It's a pleasure.
Prezo is still away.
Yes, it looks like he's not back. No, he's not back.
All right. Wow, thank you, Angie, for stepping in, and thank you, P. Jeff. That was deep. We have learned a lot from that. I think we need you. We need another session, and more importantly, all of us need to troop to your office so that you give us the proper attention. We need it. We need to hear it more and more so that we get it right. I'm also a victim of paying bills which were never there. But until I got home is when I said, hey, I was never in a delivery room, but it read delivery room. So, and we had already paid. So those are some of the things we have learned today. Before we close the session, I would like to recognize the president of RC Juba. He's here with us. We have IPP Lucy from Kitengela. We have guests like Nelson Jacob, Francis Juma, and Esther K. Thank you for fellowshipping with us. And I don't know who is going to do our sergeant at arms. Is Modoni there? Oh, Rotary and Mokami, please go ahead and do a sergeant at arms. Today is volunteering day.
Mukami.
What? Hey, Sasa. Nini, I'm not checking for anything. So I will call on to the 4-way test. Is it, what does it say? What are you?
Find yourself fast.
Yeah.
First of all, let me write the fine. Let me write the fine. Angie, for touching your hair, we can see it's long. Number 1 fine. But the other fine is for, I've seen the president was wearing his pin, so everyone who is not wearing their pin, including me, that I've not said anyone. So Angie and IPP Esther, please, PP Angie and IPP Esther, please. You have a fine for 50 bob for interrupting me. Thank you. I've not asked who has the pin. I have asked anyone who did not have the pin, please pay your 50 bob. Thank you. Anyone who did not stand during the national anthem, please pay in your 50 bob. What else? Anyone who did not put their video at any particular point, please, I was not checking, so I have no way of verification. Just give your 50 bob. And yeah, so you can also add that as you give it out, you add, if you have any happy dollars, just put it there. And then, because it's late, it's 8:30. Yeah, that's the essay for the day.
Well, thank you, Modoni. Over to you, Mr. President. Mukami, sorry.
Mukami, please.
Sorry, my apologies. I'll find myself for that.
Fine.
Sorry, Rotarian Nelius Mokami. Mr. President, I think you're back. Please, over to you.
Thanks, IPP. Yeah, thanks, IPP, for stepping in. My network misbehaved. Yes, and thanks, Mukami, for that. I just want to remind members, please register on on the chat. There's a registration form. Please put in your details there. It only takes a few minutes, but it helps us to collect the correct statistics as far as attendance is concerned. And I also want to recognize a few people that we have on the call, starting with Nelson, all the way from Juba. I believe he's the president of Rotary Club of Juba, if I'm not wrong. Welcome to Rotary Club of Nairobi Gigiri. I also want to acknowledge the presence of IPP Lucy. She's becoming a regular in our call, and we really appreciate her for that. Also, Francis Juma, a guest that we have on the call. I wish to appreciate you for that, for joining us for this particular session. Also, our special guest, Esther K, and also for your participation. That was quite good. Karibu to Gigiri. And Maureen Wanjiro. Maureen Wanjiro, also welcome to the poshest club in Nairobi, Rotary Club of Nairobi Gigiri. So we'll move on to happies very quickly. If you have any happy dollar that you want to give, hopefully there are no sad dollars, but sometimes they cannot be avoided. So members, let's go for it. Do you have anybody who is happy? Okay, silence. Then I think I'll go first. I'll give 3 happies. 2 for our speaker of the day, Jeff. That was great. In Kiswahili, they say, umetutoa masikio taka. Yani, you've removed that from our ears. That was a very good session. I've learned a lot. And I'm just thinking, you should have done this session like the first 2 weeks when you joined Rotary. I think we would have really benefited from the information. But anyway, God's timing is the best. And we are happy that you actually did it for us this time round. And definitely your phone will be ringing and we'll be consulting you more often. I hope you'll give us a Rotary fee. Or
a group fee. We come 2 or 3 of us at a go.
By the way, and we make sure we have a Jack Daniels, or we get to know his favorite brand and show up with it. Then we might get a pro bono.
All the consultations will be free.
It is Tanqueray. Tanqueray is the
Tanqueray. Okay, got it.
Tanqueray. Yes.
Tanqueray is what?
It's a gin. High-end gin.
Yes. We tulitoka Gilbis. Where? Asha.
Wow. I can see already people are booking appointments on the chat. So Jeff, your phone needs to be working very friskly right here. But we truly appreciate it. My other happy dollar is to the club for the excitement, as usual, for the turnout. The turnout was very good. Let's keep it up. Let's go for 100% attendance. But I'm happy with what I saw. But you can also do better. So, any other happy dollar?
I have 5 happy dollars. My 2 happy dollars go to our ever ready PE. Rotarian Jeff Opoti. I don't think we can get that anywhere.
Yes.
We can't get that anywhere without paying. Now that we got it, we owe you one. And like Rotarian Mukami, I will come with my Gilbris to your office and I will see what can be done. My other
I must interrupt. People don't drink Gilbis, but anyway.
Yes. People do what with it?
People don't drink Gilbis. Ask Jeff. People drink Tanqueray and Hendrix.
Like, how can we be the Posters Club and we're drinking Gilbis? That is kawaida. Don't our class.
Mukami, you made us buy it the other day. Remember? So
I was telling the Rotaractors, not you.
Mr. President, please protect me from from Angie and Rotarian Mukami so that I can go on.
This consult is quite critical. I don't know where T is featuring here, but maybe we'll come to that later.
Okay, my other 3 happy dollars is to our guests. We feel humbled and we welcome you again and again to be joining us. Oh, and I can see Rotarian Jackson is with us finally. You've really missed. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, IPP, Mr. President, family and friends of Rotary. I've walked in when people are talking about drinking, so I don't know what is being drunk. However, I had some strange names I am not used to, but I know I'll get used to that. However, Mr. President, allow me to pay $2 fine for my coming late. And then I will also give one happy for the speaker that I did not hear, but I know did a good job. And I will also give 2 happies because one of my clients, which is a school that I also support in managing, has done exemplary well in KCPE with 106 children, 30 of them scoring 400, and with a mean score of 375, considering that this was a COVID period. I'm so excited about that. And that's the reason why I got late for this meeting. Thank you, Mr. President. So $5 from me. And happy to see all of you.
Okay. Mr. President, I would also like to give some happy dollars. Oh, he's dropped off again.
Guy, I think he's dropped off again. Go ahead.
Okay. Today he was zooming in with his phone. I think probably it has issues. Anyway, I want to give $5 happy. Of course, two of them to the club for allowing me to do the presentation today and for the turnout. Then three of them are sad. I think I don't know how they're gonna reach Solomon, but for Solomon's dad passing, I don't know whether they should go to a separate kitty, but $3 sad to Solomon's account. Solomon's dad's fundraising account for the medical. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, P. Jeff. Any other happy dollar? Okay. In the absence of any other happy dollar or sad dollar, I will take this opportunity to close our session for the day. Please accept this as a normal bell. Ting, ting, ting. Together with the Rotary Club of Gigiri and together with the Rotary Club of Kitengela and Rotary Club of Juba, I give you Rotary the world over.
Rotary the world over.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Prezo today has dropped and dropped and dropped.
It was his first time to use a phone, eh? So I think we all go through.
Yeah, you know, just what you have very important. You should
IPP,
come back.
remind me how we set the money, please.
Our pay bill number is, what's our pay bill?
982800.
982800.
RCNG admin.
Yes.
That's the account number.
Yes, and the money for the funeral and whatever, I wouldn't send it there because how will it be taken out?
Yeah, I think we send it.
I would keep it aside and send it to CP Melvis.
But who's collecting from our side? We collect it through who? Or we send to him directly?
Esther,
I don't know. CP Melvis, what do you suggest?
Oh yeah, family of Rotary. Esther Conqueror can collect for us.
Let her do her job.
Family of Rotary, right? Esther Conqueror.
Yeah, maybe her. Yeah.
Sawa.
I will remind her she's not on call and her little baby was not feeling well, so I'll give her the information. You have said our pay bill number is
2800.
2800.
Account name.
PP Angie.
Yeah.
Remember my name. In regards to that, I think we can go with the Esther's position. We can
with Esther. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you have so many Esther in this forum.
Yeah.
When you say Esther, you include the which one?
Oh yeah, sure.
Esther Conqueror.
Why are your networks so bad? I can't hear anything. What is
Everybody
going
on
on? It's a bit embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Like really. Very embarrassing.
Me? I'm what am I using right now? I'm on my laptop. I am hardwired into DTL, but I'm also connected to Safaricom at the same time, just in case.
Yes.
So I don't drop.
Today I was in a meeting and everybody who was on Safaricom was just dropping.
Yeah.
I know. Okay. I've been calling them every 2 days for the last 3 weeks. The network is pathetic, and I'm on the one that's what 100 Mbps, but if I get even 5 Mbps, I'm lucky.
You're lucky.
It's very bad.
Goodness me, this is so difficult.
Yeah, I'm actually about to disconnect it and tell them just come for their router. I don't want it anymore.
And when I called them, they told me, please call me on my Airtel line. This is somebody from Safaricom.
Me the other day, I called them using my Safaricom phone. Then they're like, yeah, you know that the call is very unclear. And I'm like, yeah, I'm calling from your line. You explain to me why it's unclear. And there's a mast over there, I can see it. They're so bad.
They become like our old poster, you know, the poster line.
Exactly. They're so big now that they think they can, you know, you won't drop us. You won't go anywhere.
Their attention is on Fuliza and Mshwari. That's where they're making more money.
Guys are slowly moving to Airtel. There's a lot of migration to Airtel.
Shida Airtel, when you go to Shag, that's when you know Safaricom is important. That's a problem with Airtel.
That's why when people call me at home, they call me on Safaricom. My Airtel does not work in my house.
Exactly. Like even us, even here in the house, like there's some bedrooms that don't get Airtel, so you're just we should go to Telcom.
Yeah.
Telcom. How's Telcom?
Meshkuru, but Jeff, I can't get over today's bill, over today's what is it called? The session for today was too good. Actually,
yeah, me, I realize I've been cheated most of my life.
I've been cheated when it comes to this. Mokami, would you be kind enough to allocate him another day?
Pay me. Buy me Tanqueray.
Okay, we come from the we'll do that.
I'm even getting goosebumps.
Mukami, you know what you should try? Try something called Bloom.
Okay.
Try something called Bloom, and then you get the Fitch and Leeds tonic water, the grapefruit one. Okay. Try that, and you put a bit of mint. Just try that. It's, oh my God, I finished nearly a bottle by myself one evening in somebody's house. I was so embarrassed and I realized how much I drank.
Yes. I will try. For Tanqueray, when you're taking the green one, try cucumber and mint.
Yes.
And yeah, cucumber
I actually don't like Tanqueray. I prefer Hendrix. If I'm drinking a plain gin, I prefer Hendrix.
It seems the trick is,
yeah, that's my favorite all time. That one you'll always find 2-3 bottles in the house at any given time.
I just moved from what is it called? From Sapphire.
Oh, Bombay Sapphire.
Yeah.
I don't like Bombay Sapphire. I don't know.
So,
yeah.
So. Can you notice that Jackson is just looking at you as if you're talking about what is in math? Yes, please note that.
But when COVID is over, we have a gin party.
Oh yeah.
You know, I've been learning how to make cocktails. I have bought a punch bowl. I have ordered for a cocktail maker. You know the thing.
Yes, so I have one. I'm embarrassed to say.
I ordered for one because I got a small one. So I was just like, bring me the big one. So I'm just like, so I am preparing. I have my punch bowl. I'm just.
I think right now I have about 14 or 15 different gins in the house. So I can.
Can I come tomorrow? Can I come to give you? Can I bring that to give you advice?
We should have a.
You know, I wanted to ask Mokami, the one that I last took, I can't remember its name. Well, we were not given the bottle itself because it was put into small cups, church wine.
Oh my God, church wine is like 18%. That thing is bad.
The one we did for Holy Communion.
That wine. I know enough older people who buy it for their house as the wine they drink in the house.
It's church wine, but okay, I'm not a wine person, so really I don't like it. But I've seen my friends take it, and one bottle later, like I don't know. So
They are repenting.
No,
Yeah.
you know, we are given in church during Holy Communion, so you can't exactly tell which one it is, but
It's the same
There's a
wine. They
church-
all serve the same wine,
it's a
by the
thought.
way.
It's
a
called
thought.
church wine. Like just go to
Yeah.
the
And it has
you
a,
need
it
some-
has, you
it
go
has a
to
cross.
like Holy Family, the shop at Holy Family, you'll find it there.
Wacha
Yeah.
kwenda mbali hata nini hata Carrefour the nini
Oh,
Even-
Carrefour have it.
yes
Even-
even the Naivas.
That.
There's something wrong with their mind.
Yeah.
See, it's
It
church
has a,
wine.
it has a cross on it.
Yeah,
Yes,
and it's called
yes.
church wine.
Oh, that one.
Yes.
If it has a cross, I think I have seen it in the shop, but I never thought it's the one we.
It's the
Yeah,
one.
it's the one.
And it's like a dark bottle with a dark label,
Yes.
but with a golden cross.
Yes.
Like a goldenish cross, sort of.
And it's like
We all know it
80%.
a little too well.
Hmm. Okay,
We
guys.
should know that level of detail.
Hey, madam.
You guys, I need
So that's a date.
have a good night, guys.
All righty, good night,
Good night.
everyone.
Okay.
Right,
Drunkard.
bye.
Oh, I'm the host.
Angie,
Good
clearly
night,
we have the drunkards in the
And
house.
please
So
remember we were yapping and there were guests in the room.
It's okay.
It's okay.
this is fellowship. If we can't
Okay,
take it,
this
we
is
talk
fellowship
about
part.
it.
Yeah.
But clearly, me and Angie are the drunkards in the house. So I'm
Me, I'm
drinking.
not
Yes.
the drunkard in the house. Me, I'm the good one.
Okay.
Today, only today.
That's your
taking
story and
some
you're
juice.
sticking to it. Me, I'm drinking
Can I
Ribena.
get a part of
This
the
is
lap for
Ribena.
today?
Eh?
Yes, guys. Good night.
Yes, yes, yes. See you, everybody. That was so
Good
cool.
night.
Good night. Can I end it?
Yes, I think.
Okay. Good night.